Most nights pass in silence, but when the clock strikes 3, silence changes. Walls remember, shadows move, and some who wake at that hour never truly wake again. This is the third hour. Tonight, I'll tell you about a man who thought he had found a place to rest. But the house he entered had other plans. From the very first night, sleep abandoned him. It hadn't always been this way. Before, sleep had come easy. He used to close his eyes and drift. But from the very first night here, it was different. At exactly 3 a.m., something pulled him awake, as if the house itself exhaled against his skin. He would look at the clock, 3 a.m., and from that moment on, there was no more sleep. During the day, he drifted through hours like a ghost. His eyes burned. His reflection looked older each morning. He worked from the same room he tried to rest in, the same 4 walls holding him captive. But the worst was the night, when the hours stretched wide and merciless, and the clock by his bed carved them up one by one. Midnight was restless. 1 o'clock was heavy. 2 o'clock was endless. And then came the third hour. That was when the whispers began. At first, he told himself it was nothing. Houses make noise. Wood shifts as it cools. Wind threads through the cracks. He clung to those explanations like prayers. But prayers don't matter when the walls lean close enough to breathe. The first night, it was faint, like the softest exhale brushing the plaster. He turned his head, held still, listened until the blood in his ears drowned everything else. Nothing. He tried to lie down again, but unease pressed into his chest. Sleep never came back. The second night, the whisper returned, clearer, louder. Wake up. The words slid through the dark, as if someone had spoken them right against his ear. By the third night, it came again. Always the same voice. Don't sleep. Open your eyes. Short, flat commands. And sometimes, when the whisper came, his lips trembled, repeating without his consent, "Wake up." By the end of the week, he couldn't take it anymore. He searched for the source, pressing his ear to the wall, pacing the room. Then, his eyes caught the picture frame above the bed. It had been there since the day he moved in, always a little crooked, no matter how many times he straightened it. He lifted it down. Behind it was a single hole, black as ink. He leaned closer, breath caught. The darkness looked back. He staggered, pulse hammering. He wanted to be sure, to look again, but fear pinned him where he stood. Instead, he snatched tape. He pressed the frame hard against the wall, hands trembling. That night, the whisper stopped. For a moment, he thought it was over, but unease clung to him. Sleep never returned. The next night, as the clock struck 3, the whisper was back, louder, hungrier. Wake up. He gathered the nerve and pulled the frame down. The hole had grown, the plaster around it cracked and flaking. Slowly, he bent closer. At first, relief. Nothing. Just an empty hollow. Still and silent. Then the dark shifted. And I, watching. He reeled away, choking on air. He never dared to look again. He only patched, painted, pressed it closed. But the whisper pressed harder. Don't sleep. Open your eyes. He buried his head in the pillow, palms pressed to his ears. It was useless. The voice was no longer outside. It had slipped inside, behind his eyes. Wake up. His lips moved, echoing the words, even as he fought them. Wake up. And he did. Darkness. Dust thick in his mouth. He wasn't in his bed anymore. He was inside the wall, through the hole. He could see his own room, his own bed. And there he was, lying peacefully, chest rising and falling. He tried to shout from the walls and begged for the dreamer to wake. But he never did. Next, on the third hour, I will tell you what happened to a taxi driver one night at 3 a.m. when a passenger refused to leave.